It is the 8th of January 2025, a Wednesday, and we are about to start the US session. Now I have a few entries planned for this session, but before I talk about those, I left a trade open in the morning, which was thought out to be more of a swing trade. So I sold here, put my stop here, and put a very ambitious target over here. The reason being, I took this trade more by looking at the daily time frame. So we were here, we traced basically 60-ish% of this move, and I thought there was a good chance that this, especially this bar here, this fair value gap acts as resistance for a move lower. We did move lower, almost touched previous day low. It was in profit about $57, $58 here. It's going back up a bit, but I'm gonna just let this play out. I'm not even moving the stop loss, so I'm fine whatever happens. Even if we go all the way, it's fine. I will let this run like I said earlier. And now looking toward the US session, I'm interested in the Dow, especially the second 5-minute bar, or to say the completion of the second 5-minute bar. And besides that, I will also be looking at the second 15-minute bar in the Dow and the second 15-minute bar in the DAX as well. These are triggers that have been working well recently, and I'm gonna keep taking them until they're not. For the Nasdaq and SPX, just like yesterday, I will be looking at the fourth 15-minute bar in the SPX and the seventh 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq. Yesterday, the fourth 15-minute bar worked in the SPX, but I didn't take it. And then I did take the seventh 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq, which didn't work. But I'm gonna stay consistent and take this again today, and probably not skip the fourth 15-minute bar in the SPX today. Of course, if we do get a large candle, then it does become more difficult to take that entry, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we have an open. It's a bit of a bearish open to begin with, but it doesn't really matter. First trade will be a breakout or a breakdown of the second 5-minute candle in the Dow. And as usual, that is more of a fast trade or scalp even, where I'm looking to take profit much faster and perhaps be even more aggressive with moving my stop. But as we've seen yesterday, had I not moved the stop, the trade would have made money. I did move the stop to half and got stopped out before the move happened. But it's not necessarily a mistake to move the stop. However, this strategy has worked very well lately. So that is the breakdown or breakout of the second 5-minute candle. So we will wait for that to complete, and I will bring you back, while also keeping an eye on the UK 100 trade, which has some way to go. But like I said, I consider this more of a swing trade, and I'm even ready to let it go overnight into tomorrow. So yeah, I will pause for now and bring you back when we're closer to the second 5-minute bar completing. An extra thing I wanted to say and forgot to mention. As you recall, I left an order here in gold. In the morning, the idea was that I was expecting a sell if we got close to the previous day's high, but after the lunch break and seeing the price action and taking a look at the higher time frame again, I decided to move the order higher because I concluded that a retrace was more likely to happen here or even here, but let's go with the 62% entry for the swing trade, and I'm gonna have a stop around here if we trigger it. It's going to be a stop around here, and I'm going to target these lows around here if we do get triggered. And as you can see, I think it was the right call because we've gone way above what would have been my original entry point. I was planning on entering, I think, around here, 60 to 61. We're at 66 right now. As you can see, there was no order. So yeah, just wanted to show you that. And we're 1 minute away, or actually less than 1 minute away, from completing the second 5-minute bar. So let's see right now for 69. So it is kind of a 75-point bar, which is fine for this sizing. So we're going to sell below 5-point cushion ish. I think that's fine. And the same above, only it's a buy order. So something like that. Okay. And the stop is going to be the opposite, basically. So we trigger short, the stop is going to be here. We trigger long, the stop is going to be here. Let's see, we are close to previous day low. So that is something to consider. Now, if we look at the daily overview, we closed on a bearish candle yesterday. So if we keep selling today, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise. We went just to the bottom of London range, double bottomed, and now some buyers are stepping in. But let's see if they get trapped or not. Don't really have a bias. Like I said, if you look at the daily overview, you might think that it's a more bearish outlook, but I don't really have a bias. So with this strategy, I just enter wherever price takes me, and overall it's been profitable. So you don't always need to have a bias. Let's see what happens. The danger here, of course, is that price is just going to go above the bar, fill you, and then go against you, but that's always a possibility. And gold keeps marching forward, so I'm quite happy with my decision to remove this order. Yeah, I think this is a much better entry point. we are to touch it. I'm not going to manually enter, so still some ways to go. And the UK 100 is also retracing here a bit again, so hopefully it continues going lower. Like I said, I will be looking for the second 15-minute bar in the DAX. We're still at the first bar. So I'll pause you and bring you back when we're triggered here, one way or the other. And there it is. We got triggered short, which means we are dragging this back to here, deleting this, putting this exactly in its place. So something like this. Now for this particular entry, it's generally around 100 points. So 389, what was it? So it's like 289. Let's go like right here. This might actually be kind of small for my taste. Kind of a small target. Yeah, I think, let me just take a look here. I think if this is to work, could probably expect it to go lower. So let's do it like that. I mean, I could be even more ambitious and go all the way here. There's definitely a case to be made that we're going to revisit this low now. But I don't want to be greedy either. So let's see. Switching to the live PNL for you to see. This is the UK 100 trade from earlier this morning, opened at 10:37 my time. I'm on GMT plus 2. Now the concern here for this trade is that we've rated the entire day's lows, so both London session and Asia, and yesterday's low. And we're trying to go back into the range here, so you do have some bulls buying here, which as usual it's going to make sense. A lot of people like to buy when price gets to a key level such as the previous day's low. People expect a bounce, but I'm fairly confident in my trade and my strategy over the long term, so whatever happens in this one trade doesn't really matter. Hopefully we just move lower. Second 15-minute bar has started to form, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And I'm not going to move the stop loss at all today for this trade. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we just lose the full amount, which is still below our maximum risk of 0.5% per trade. So yeah, I'll keep monitoring and bring you back when we have a more clear picture of what's going to happen here. There definitely are some buyers trying to buy here. Hopefully the selling pressure is just too big. pausing now and see you in a few minutes. Bringing you back here, we're around a minute away from the second 15-minute bar forming. Looking at our open positions, not much has happened really. Price came all the way up to here and then sold off again, but we've kind of stumbled here, which is a bit worrisome because you kind of want there to be weakness when you're playing for a breakout or breakdown, so you want to see strength in that direction. And what I'm seeing here is both buyers and sellers kind of, canceling each other out. Maybe sellers not having that much or as much strength as I would need. But that being said, we're still a nice profit here, at least points wise. It's like 70 points, that's not little, and there's an attempt now to go lower, so this needs to work here. I think at this point it's completely appropriate to move the stop loss to break even in this trade. That's a lot of points, 60 plus points in the Dow. I mean, if this is gonna work, it should work without revisiting this. If it revisits this bar now, I think it's good to just get out of it. And actually I just have to post the orders here. I almost got caught out above. I think I can actually go a bit higher on the cushion than normal. It's generally around 2.5 points for the DAX, but let's leave it like this. Yeah, see, all of a sudden we went below. It looked like we were gonna sell off, and then buyers just stepped in immediately. And we're revisiting previous day low again. You would hope that this acts as resistance, but if we just chew through it, we do look like we're doing just that. I mean, what was my maximum profit here? Like $36. That's not really that good. So I'm perfectly fine with going to break even here and just forgetting this trade existed if price returns here. Perfectly fine. Yeah. So undecided. We lost a bit more because of slippage, but who cares? It's a break-even trade, and I'm fine with the management of that. In the meantime, we've been triggered long on the DAX. Sadly, I had to go lower volume because it's quite a significant bar. As you can see, it's actually more than the 0.5% I want to risk per trade. But I mean, it's marginal, so I'll leave it like this. And for this move, which is the breakout of the second 15-minute candle on the DAX in the US session, you can expect between 45 to 70 points, which would be, this is 45, and this is 70, so let's go somewhere in between. Like this, it's not an exact science. It's a bit more than a 1-to-1. Let me just check the higher time frames. Yeah, I think this is fine. Again, I'm not going to get too greedy. If we look at the DAX today, if you'll remember, let me just show you here. We went along on the breakout of the second 5-minute candle in the EU session, and I was targeting just the previous day high. And I even said here that I was considering a short, but it looked like a bait to me. So I passed on shorting, and we went another leg up before selling hard. So had I shorted here, I wouldn't have played it as a swing. I would have played it as a normal intraday trade, and I would have had like a 30 to 40 point stop loss, and I would have gotten stopped out. So that was a good call. So similarly, I'm not gonna be too greedy here. There's obviously quite a lot of selling pressure at these levels, so I will be happy if we get here. I think my decision to bring the stop to break even here is more than justified. I do have the second 15-minute bar in the Dow here as an entry. So it would be a breakout of this candle, and it would be like a 100-point stop. So let's just go a bit lower on the sizing. Oops. Something like that. And sell below. I think the sell is out of the question now, but who knows? Sadly, the UK 100 seems to also be retracing fully, but you never know. If we look just at the 15-minute and a 15-minute time frame, if we use the Fibonacci tool for this leg, we are getting into the territory of the most likely area that the price will turn, which is this area here. So hopefully it does. Now, I don't really use Fibonacci for smaller time frames like the 15-minute, because I don't think it's as reliable as more higher time frames like 1 hour, 4 hours, and daily. But it's still relevant to show you that, I think. And as you can see, it just clipped this, and it's retracing a bit, so hopefully it works. But if not, then that's fine. I'm letting this play out, like I said, and I'll even leave it overnight if I don't get stopped out, of course. Close to getting triggered long in the Dow here. Yeah, I think it's a good place to pause you and wait for things to unfold before bringing you back. So I'll do that now. So we did end up getting triggered long here. I deleted the sell order and placed the stop in its place. Again, the stop is just a bit higher than I would have wanted, but I'm not gonna take like 0.03 off here at this point. It's fine, it's again quite marginal. My target would be this area here. I'm not going to target the top, but we are going back into London range here, and ideally you would want to see price continue and go all the way here. When I mean all the way, I mean all the way up to London session high at least. It could go even as high as previous day high, considering we've completely swept the lows and come back. We do have some sellers stepping in here, of course, which is always the risk you're going to take when you play for such a trade. But I think looking at how this has played out, it looks like a textbook fake breakdown, where we made a lower low, and quite an aggressive one, to this one, and then we've gone back in. So yeah, a little bit of retracement here in both indices. But yeah, let's hope they hold. If we lose both of these, it would be a 1% loss on the account, which is never nice, but it's not something too special either, or too unexpected. It's going to happen when you place multiple intraday trades of 0.5% risk. Still a bit off my swing entry here for gold. Okay, so I'll pause you again, and I'm still waiting for the fourth 15-minute bar to form. We're still at the third 15-minute bar in SPX. Of course, if let's say we lose both of these, and then I take this, and this also loses, I might not take the seventh 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ, just because you want to protect capital. Maybe it's just not your day when something like that happens. Maybe it's just not the day for your triggers and your entries. It's a bit frustrating that the strongest of all seems to be the UK 100, where I'm short, and these two where I'm long seem to be retracing, so that can always happen, of course. Okay, so I'll pause you again and bring you back when we are closer to a resolution. Well, it is looking like the worst case scenario here, where we got stopped out on our short, got triggered long mechanically on a planned entry, and then that reversed as well. And of course, this can happen sometimes. This is why we have stops, and why it's important that we are completely prepared and don't overtrade and don't use inappropriate sizing. Because even if I get stopped out in both, I'm gonna be just fine. And it's just an unfortunate couple of trades. The case could be made that once again I moved the stop loss to the second 5-minute bar entry like I did yesterday, and the move would happen later. But from my experience with this particular entry, you do generally want to see the move happen faster. So I'm fine with moving the stop loss to break even here, even if we wouldn't have gotten stopped out had I left the original stop loss in place. But stuff happens, so it's fine. We're still in this trade, and still waiting for the fourth 15-minute bar to complete. The market does feel particularly weak now. The SPX is double bottoming here. Like I said, we do have the Fed minutes coming out later today, so the market might be anxious for that and not ready to commit to a direction, which of course can happen. So something to be mindful of as well. Maybe we get a reprieve here, but at this point I think it's better to just consider both trades lost, because this isn't really the type of price action I want to see when I employ these strategies and when I play for breakouts or breakdowns. You want to see consistent strong moves in that direction. Those are the trades that generally work out, and that happens. Like with the DAX this morning, where as you can see it just broke out and continued. Not fake the breakout, then return, then range for minutes and hours. So yeah, these aren't the ideal scenarios that you want, but they will happen. Now there does seem to be some sort of reaction here once again, but I am kind of thinking that we might be stuck in a range here if we don't actually just break out now. Because if we get back to here and then go back down again, we're probably just going to range endlessly for the rest of the day, and that's really not ideal for my type of strategies and my type of trading. So if I see us starting to range hard, I might even pass on taking another trade and just call it a day and just let this run. But let's see, we are like 60 to 70 points off getting stopped here, so it's not a small cushion at this point considering we were this close. But as we've seen, price can easily eat up this gap and stop us out. So if these are to work now, you really should be seeing a strong reaction here above previous day low. Yeah, I think it's probably time to pause you again, because this might take a while now, or it might not. It might just go down, oof, once I pause you. But yeah, pausing you here, and we'll see. The fourth 15-minute bar in the SPX is about to form. I'm considering if I want to take this trade. On average, it returns around 11 points. This is taking losses into account as well, so it's an actual average. When it does work, it returns like 30 points, 20 points, 15 points. This is probably going to get stopped out now, the Dow trade. Yeah, really unfortunate. I'm completely fine with the way I executed this. It's just unlucky, and it's just one of those days where the triggers just didn't work, because them working most of the time lately doesn't mean they're going to work every single time. There's no such thing. So these would be the entries for the SPX. Lower sizing because it's quite a significant bar. I don't want to be higher than 0.5%. Yeah, bit of a tougher day, but these are very important it's important to navigate these correctly and use appropriate stop losses and not overtrade. So as you can see, I'm just taking the trades that I've planned out beforehand, before the session even began. Somehow still in this, though, like I said, I'm honestly considering both of these lost already, just because this isn't usually the scenario that leads to a win. But I'm not gonna, manually close it for less either, because I'm fine with the stops. I've placed them and I can live with them. They're all part of the strategy, so. But yeah, it's quite rare that you get wins after something like this, but let's see. Certainly the Dow is playing around today a lot in this range. And certainly there are buyers interested here at the lows, but there are also sellers interested here, so it's a small, like a 100-point range to 150-point range, where we just seem to be ping-ponging, be thrown around now. So I think if we go a third time here, it's definitely going to hit the stop. Let's look at the live P&L, because I know people like to see this. I generally don't keep this open. I don't see a benefit to watching these numbers non-stop. I think they could actually play with your emotions if you just stare at them all day. So I generally switch to a different tab and just watch the price action. But I do know that people watching like to see the live P&L, so I do switch to it from time to time so you can observe it. Gold is marching forward, but still like 8 points off our entry. That's fine. It would be nice to see some sort of reaction here. We've been kind of muted for the past 30 to 40 minutes. Well, there's certainly an attempt here to go back above previous day low. And this is going to be it. If it happens, it happens now. We've already been quite lucky. But this is, the placement of the stop loss isn't random, of course. So this is part of the strategy. So that's worth remembering, although of course we can't say that we weren't lucky to not get stopped out here when it was like, what, 10 points at best. No, even lower, like 7 points. So I was really lucky not to get stopped out, but we do have another shot here. And we do have the 60-point cushion again, but again, it's, as you've seen, it can easily be melted down, so. Yeah, this is the push up now. And let's see. Oh, we got triggered. Okay. It's again just a bit over my 0.5, which kind of annoys me. So I will actually, where is it? I will actually remove 0.5 from this trade. Just to be in, because we've already extended a bit with this one and with this one, and I want to extend with 3 of them. And for the SPX trade, I'm going to just target this fair value gap here. I think that's reasonable. If we've double bottomed here and this holds, this is a very reasonable point or price should go. So it's not greedy. I'm not targeting the top again. I think this is fine. We've gone all the way up to the entry point, and once again, sellers are stepping in here. So yeah, we're in a range here, which is frustrating. But oops, what did I click on here? I wanted the box. So this is the range here. And until we break it, I think we're just going to bounce around here. And I am actually just going to remove the 0.03 this time around. We almost brought the stop in the 0.5%. So let's see, we somehow went back to being in profit here after things looking pretty bleak. I'm just thinking if I should maybe close one of these trades. Reason being that I do have long exposure in 3 indices right now. Do I really need this exposure in 3 indices? Because of course all 3 could go my way, but all 3 could still reverse. And although, I mean, with a double bottom here, if we're just a bit brave here, I think there's a good chance we just win all 3 of them. But at the same time, I think we have to consider that all 3 turning against us is 1.5%. So I think being a bit sensible here and just accepting a loss in the Dow, a very small loss, is fine, even if it goes up now, because if this goes up now, I fully expect these to also go up. So I'm not really going to miss out on much, but if they all go down, at least I've minimized my exposure. And like I said, this isn't really the type of price action you want to see when you're doing a breakout trade. So this was pretty much the worst case scenario, and we got really lucky here to not get stopped out. So I think I'm fine with this decision, and I'm letting the other 2 trades play out, and of course the UK 100 swing. Have to also remind ourselves that we do have the FOMC minutes coming out later, and we might easily keep ranging until then. I don't think the minutes are going to cause that much volatility. It's not like it's the FOMC interest rate decision, but it will act as a bit of a catalyst, and it might be the reason why we are in such a tight range to begin the day. And you can see price going down again, so yes, we are in a range. Now if I lose both of these, it's basically kind of the same situation we were in before I got triggered long in the SPX. So I will consider taking the 7th 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq, but we'll observe price action until then. And if we just stay in this range, I'm probably gonna pass on it, because it would mean just that the market is waiting for the FOMC minutes, or maybe it's just a day where the price doesn't really do much and we just chop, and chop is really bad for my strategies. My strategies basically require price to follow through in one direction or another, and if we just chop, then that's just kryptonite. So let's see, we're making an attempt to go back up here. I guess this becomes some sort of hedge. If we sell hard, at least this will sell. And if not, if we rally hard, then these should also probably rally and make up for that. So yeah, I'll pause you again and bring you back a bit later when we're closer to the 7th bar forming, the 7th 15-minute bar forming in the NASDAQ, or we get close to a take profit or a stop loss here. Well, it's a bit of a roller coaster today. So we are pushing forward for now. Broke out of this. Clearly not my day in the Dow, but that's fine. Hopefully we do have a follow through, because I do not think these are particularly tough targets to hit. So here's hoping. And yeah, I think it's just probably wise to not enter any other trades for the day. Although I will still look at the 750-minute bar, see how it looks. But there's a good chance that I won't place another trade, and we'll just hope for these to go ahead and hit their targets. Yeah, definitely a more difficult day. But there will be very many difficult days ahead, of course. As with everything and with every strategy, I find that there are periods where something works more often than not. So you might see my strategies work very well for days and weeks and even months, and then all of a sudden I will go through a downturn, or a dry spell, or just a bad period, however you want to call it. But I do heavily research my entries, and I think the edge is clear, and I can see it because I have a spreadsheet where I calculate the points that I make on every strategy, even when I do not take an entry. So each of my entries are researched, and in the long run they are profitable. So whatever happens, the most important thing is risk management and not hit maximum daily loss, pretty much. So with that in mind, I will pause you and bring you back later when we're close to either a take profit or a stop loss. Time for another update. A bit of a weird turnaround here. Now the Dow is like the strongest of all the indices, of course. The trade that I've closed, but of course this is fine. It's just a bit funny, I think, but perfectly fine with my decision. Hopefully these keep going up, and if not, that's fine too. I think there might be a case to be made to move stops here, but I think it's been so unpredictable that more likely the best course of action is just to leave things as they are. We're not far off this take profit here, and the DAX does seem to be quite strong. I would want this 15-minute bar to also close bullish. 3 minutes left on it before it completes. And for the Nasdaq, this is the 7th 15-minute bar. And I don't think I'm going to follow it. It's just really stuck in this range. Of course, saying that, it could easily just break out and rally. But I think I'm fine with these trades, these open trades. And the SPX is pretty much moving the same way anyway, so I'm already long. So if this goes higher, this will also go higher, so it's not like I'm missing out, I don't think. And I'm managing risk by not adding an extra position, which is what I did here as well. Now, of course, look at this turn of events here, and we would have been in profit. I don't remember exactly what where my take profit was, but I think it was like somewhere around here, so we would still be far off. We wouldn't be taking profits here anyway. But yeah, bit of a subdued volume, I would say, right now, and we're a bit stuck. But if you look at the live P&L, I mean, neither of these are worthy of closing early. Unfortunate that the UK 100 actually managed to retrace almost all the way back up to my entry point. So this is my take profit, and we were at most $61 in profit. Putting it back where it was. Yeah, so I'm skipping on this. I'm skipping on this trigger. If it gets triggered long, I'm not taking it. If it gets triggered short, I wouldn't be taking it anyway, whilst I'm in a long in the SPX, because they're very similar, and of course, I don't want to be long one and short the other, almost ever. I'm okay with being long Nasdaq and short Dow, for example. These have been going against each other a lot of the times, but the SPX and Nasdaq are much more correlated right now. So I wouldn't want to take them in opposite directions. So yeah, I'm gonna hang around for a while and observe the price action. So I'll pause you and bring you back when I end the video and when I end my session. Hopefully we do get a take profit here to end the day nicely, but we'll see. I have decided to move the stop losses a bit up. I do think at this point that if we do revisit these levels, we're likely going further down, so no need to lose the full amounts. We got close here in the DAX to hitting this take profit, but yeah, the strength just isn't there. It just feels like volume has dried up now. I'm waiting for FMC minutes. So with that in mind, I've moved the stop loss up. And if we're stopped, then it's unlucky, but what can you do? Neither of these are closable, in my opinion. I'm not going to close for a little profit. I'm not going to go to break even either, because I feel like there's always a good chance, we're not that far off, there's always a good chance we revisit the entry point and then shoot back up. So I think I'd be more frustrated if we hit break even on both and then they move in our direction than if they reverse and we lose more, but at least I know that I was wrong. So with that in mind, I'm going to pause you again and I'm going to stick around for a little while longer. So this isn't the ending of the video. But yeah, I'll bring you back. Bringing you back here, we might be getting a fill here. I mean, not a fill, TP hit. You could say that there is a case to be made that we could move the take profit higher here, but I'm just gonna be happy if it hits and call it a day, because it hasn't been the easiest of days. The Dow is quite strong now as well, obviously after breaking out of this range. Again, I'm perfectly fine with this one. Basically 2 break-even trades. I've lost a few dollars, but just slippage and whatever. What is it? 46. Close in the SPX as well. Hopefully we don't just miss on both of these. Shades of this morning with the DAX just hanging around at the exact point of take profit. This morning it hit, so hopefully it's the same here. And the UK 100 isn't looking great right now, but what can you do? So we did hit here. Cool. There it is. And we're close here as well. I put the TP right above these wicks here. There's a risk that we just go above them and back down, which is what we see right now. I'm gonna move the stop to break even here. I think I'm fine with whatever happens here. Obviously we're very close to take profit and I do expect it to hit now. Out of curiosity, this would have been the 7th 15-minute bar, so we would have been triggered long. We would be in profit right now on this as well. But I think my decision to be sensible is more than understandable here. And so should my decision here be understandable, I think. Like I said then, I could have been brave and just let all of them run, but there is that instance where all 3 of them reverse and hit the stop loss, and it would have been minus 1.5% on the account. And I just think, since the positions were in the same direction, and the indices do seem to be correlated today. I still had plenty of exposure, plenty of long exposure, and it was just a smart decision to minimize a bit of that risk. Just seem to be reacting off this level here, but I'm gonna let it and give it a chance for a few more minutes. And if I see it reversing here, I'm just gonna manually close it for whatever it is. The DP is at what, 20? So we're 4 points off. As I've said before, I don't really like to manually close it, but I will close it if I feel like there's a good chance we reverse here. But I mean, we're so close that I'm gonna give it a chance to actually hit the TP. It would be nice if the SPX hits TP and then we start selling. And this brings the UK 100 down as well. The stop loss to this is quite high, so I think that if we hopefully stumble on this level, then after the FOMC minutes come out, perhaps we get a sell then, and we go back down here. Come on, SPX, don't make me click this. Come on, like half a point. There you go. Okay, so we somehow turned this around, because it wasn't looking that great. But yeah, this is what happens when you keep your cool and you follow your strategies. And even if we missed out on this, like I said, it was just good management, I think. So I'm actually very happy with that. I think this has been a really good session ultimately. Of course, a bit lucky here to not get stopped out. Even here, we were pretty close. So we got triggered here, went above. My stop was here, so we were like, what, 15 points or something like that. A bit more than 15 points, but still pretty close. Could have been stopped out in both. And then maybe I would have just stopped trading to protect my capital, and I maybe wouldn't have taken this trade. So all in all, a difficult day, a more difficult day than yesterday, but a profitable day still, so that's nice. I've rambled for quite a lot in this video, so I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, as I will be trying to post regularly. And I treat this as my trading journal, so this is just for for information purposes. Do not treat this as investment advice. Always manage your risk, and always have a strategy and stick to it, and do not let emotions play any part in what you do. If you feel like emotions are running high and you're not completely objective, then it's better to just close your computer and walk away for the day. With that in mind, thank you once again, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.